Hello and welcome to our viewers here in Nigeria and all around the world. This is Firecrackers, where we discuss issues of national interest. I am Kelly Egiga. Coming up on the program, Nigeria's oil sector contracts by 13.89% as COVID-19 pandemic plunges the economy officially into recession. Plus, tonight, more than 70 people die of yellow fever in Nigeria since September, as health authorities warn of a resurgence of the disease. And also on the program, we'll consider the October 20 Lekki shooting as the army finally admits live and blank bullets were shown, or rather taken, to the protest venue. This and many more on the show coming up in just a moment. But it's been a very, very crazy week, the week where a particular newspaper vendor was killed by a DSS aide attached to the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. We'll take a look at that report as filed in by our correspondent in Abuja, the nation's capital, Godfrey Oshemogi. Welcome to the show.
A group grieving their slain colleague. It is on this busy road that the late 35-year-old vendor, fondly known as Elechi, was shot at close range. The part of the road where he laid after receiving gunshots to his head still has blood stains.
This one, yes, he come close. Like say, he carried the guy from months. So he just rushed past many guys service, he just rushed, just shot him. Just where we are shouting, running, say, well, you don't kill our brother, don't kill our brother. You just raise some gun ahead.
Action about this thing, we will take action by ourselves because this DSS now didn't do this thing. Now DSS is not following to do this thing. Now DSS, we must show the guy first and the guy combo. We know him always. They are fasting here.
No, I was there yesterday when this shooting of thing happens. Nice man. I agree with me. The senator, almost 3 senators was here. But people knows him very well. I agree with me. They're just going to supply over the guy because that's that people know him very well. But he's a very nice guy. That's why we were so shocked yesterday. Steve
Mweze here says the actual shooter had previously showed signs of being a trigger-happy cop.
But there is something I want to. That guy that shot this guy yesterday, he has released a bullet here before, but he didn't shot person that first time. There was a day we saw this Gbajabiamila coming. We started greeting him. He tried to show us love that very day, but the security people didn't allow him to do that. So he was trying to park, they couldn't allow him. So the other side, his driver managed and bring small thing out and give to us because there was no chance for the Oga to bring something out for us. So the driver managed and get small thing to us. Immediately he gave us the small thing, then we drive. This same particular guy came down from his car, removed pistol and fire on the head.
Speaker Femi Gbajabiamila says the investigation is currently underway to get to the heart of this particular incident. But while that continues, this latest episode reawakens the stark reality that stares Nigerians in the face. Sadly, gun-wielding security agencies now seem to pose a greater threat to the civilians they are meant to protect. This coming in the wake of a protest against police brutality. Godfrey Oshemogi, Galaxy News, Abuja.
Welcome back. You're watching Firecrackers, and of course we are live from our studios here in Lagos, Nigeria. Very, very sad development indeed. Prayers and thoughts are with the family of the departed. Well, just this year we have had to battle with Lassa fever. We've also had to battle with the COVID-19 pandemic, which ravaged nations all around the world. And now it appears that yellow fever is in some parts of Nigeria, as well as some strange illnesses have also been recorded in some parts of the country, with over 70 deaths, of course, tied to yellow fever in some parts of the country, as I mentioned earlier, including Delta and I think Kogi State. And so joining us live tonight is the Commissioner for Health in Cross River State, Dr. Betta Edu. She joins us live via Skype. Good afternoon, Doctor. Thank you so much for agreeing to speak with Galaxy TV.
Good afternoon, Kelly, and thank you for having me.
All right, it's always a delight to speak with you, Doctor. Let's see if we can get your take on all of this, which has played out since the start of September. Yellow fever in Nigeria. I mean, what exactly is going on?
Okay, so basically we are beginning to see a new wave of yellow fever in Nigeria. Unfortunately, a lot of lives have been lost. Before we could understand that it was yellow fever. Basically, we have started sensitization across for people to understand that they can get themselves protected from yellow fever if they take the vaccine. And it's also very important to prevent being bitten by the mosquito that transmits yellow fever. It's very important, the Aedes mosquito. So basically, there's an outbreak of yellow fever in different parts of the country, in Benue, in Delta, in Enugu, and several other states. And a lot of people don't understand how they can protect themselves from yellow fever. They don't even understand the signs and the symptoms of the yellow fever. Most times it presents like the normal malaria. You have headache, you have fever, of course, which is raised temperature. You have all the body pain. And then when it goes for 3 to 6 days, it in most cases will resolve. If it doesn't resolve, it's when it gets to the complicated state and it begins to affect the liver, leads to total breakdown of organs. The organs in your body begin to fail and can lead to death in extreme cases like we have seen in several states in Nigeria.
And then help us understand, is this disease, is it communicable? Is it also hereditary?
So it's not hereditary, but people who are infected, especially within the first 3 to 6 days, can infect other people when the mosquito which transmits this yellow fever beats them, pick up the infection, and then goes to the next person to bite that next person. So one of the things you need to do is to protect yourself, either using mosquito repellents and the rest of it. Wear long clothes that will cover yourself. Your environment, keep it clean. That's environmental sanitation is important. Personal sanitation is important, so that you can, of course, protect your area from being a breeding ground for this mosquito. So basically, it is transmitted by the Aedes mosquito from one person to another, from an infected person to another. If you can break that cycle of transmission, then you can protect others from coming down with the yellow fever. And you can break it also by taking your vaccines. People should get vaccinated.
And maybe I should also find out from you, do you think that in your capacity, probably the Nigerian government is even doing enough in terms of sensitization, especially at the rural areas?
Basically, I just think COVID has put a kind of blanket over everyone. So there's a lot of concentration by NCDC and indeed everyone to sensitize the public on COVID-19 and how they can prevent it. But very little is being done on yellow fever. But I'm happy that my colleagues in the states that are affected have already started sensitization at grassroots. In Cross River State, we have started sensitizing the grassroots. Our DSNOs, our community engagers are all out trying to ensure that people understand what yellow fever is, how they can report it if we have any signs or symptoms that are associated with it, and more importantly, how people should observe personal and environmental hygiene, as this would help prevent the yellow fever. People can also have access to yellow fever vaccine at primary health care facilities, general hospital facilities across the state.
All right, Doctor, let's
more still needs to be done, really.
And talk about something which is very much still a pandemic in most parts of the world, even though it appears that in Nigeria, the body language of most Nigerians is that we have probably defeated the COVID-19 pandemic. But is that what it is in your state? Is that what you see there?
So basically, there's a COVID fatigue all over the country. And well, not even just Nigeria, but all across the world. People are tired of carrying out the basic guidelines and protocols that have been put out to say, use your face mask, wash your hands often, use hand sanitizers, avoid public places and public gatherings. As much as possible, try to observe social distancing. Very few people are adhering to that right now. As we go towards the festive period, it's getting worse because there are a lot of weddings, burials, occasions, left, right, and center. And you go there and you find people not adhering to these guidelines and protocols that have been given. But then we must strongly warn Nigerians that there can be a resurgence, a second wave of the COVID-19 pandemic in our country. So everyone must be alert and everyone must take responsibility to protect themselves at this point.
Well, Dr. Betta, I will need you to stay with us for a moment. So we'll take a break. When we come back, we will talk a little about the possible second wave of the coronavirus in Nigeria and, of course, around the world, as well as the vaccine, which is trendy in most developed climes. That's in a moment. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Firecrackers, and of course we have live joining us via Skype Dr. Betta Edu. She's the Honorable Commissioner for Health in Cross River State. I need to also mention that she doubles as the chairperson of the Commissioner for Health Forum in Nigeria. Dr. Betta, thank you so much for staying with us on the program tonight. Well, resurgence of a possible second wave of the coronavirus. Let's even head on and speak about the vaccine, which in most developed countries, there have been news about progress being made with Pfizer and the BioNTech and all of that. But it appears that here in Nigeria, to be precise, and Africa, nothing is being said about vaccine.
Well, we're happy to know that the vaccine that has been produced, been manufactured, and it has been shown to have some 95% positive effect over the coronavirus, preventing the coronavirus. However, this is for patients above 65 years. We are yet to know what it is like for all the other age groups. But what is most important is the fact that we should not jump at the vaccine without carefully studying it in Nigeria and understanding the dynamics of that vaccine. Beyond even understanding the efficacy of the vaccine, it's also important to understudy our cold chain system. Are we able to protect this in the best of temperature from the point where it's being produced to the last end user in my village? Remember, like the one which is produced by Pfizer, it has to be kept in very, very low temperature to keep its potency and keep it viable, right? In Nigeria, how is that cold chain system? Are we able to transport it in that medium from the federal government where it comes in all the way to state, to local governments, to wards, and then to the end users in the villages? Do we have all the cold chain equipment, like the direct solar refrigerators and all the coolers that we need? A lot of things are required really to be able to maintain it at that temperature to the end user. Do we have it in Nigeria? These are the kind of things we need to consider. How many doses are we supposed to take to be able to get that protection from COVID-19? Remember, there are dynamics for each of these things. If it's a one-off shot, it's easier because you can get a lot of people to just take that one shot. But then what is the probability that the person who takes the first shot will come back for the second shot to be able to gain that protection against COVID-19, which will eventually give us the herd immunity and protect people in Nigeria? So there's a whole lot we need to understand about the COVID vaccine, and it's important for Nigeria to do its own research to understand the dynamics of the vaccine and how it will play out in our population. I don't think it's something we should jump at. It's a welcome idea, but I think a lot of work still needs to be done before it's sent out to the general population. What's most important is prevention, and Nigerians should understand that we can have a second wave, and so everyone should take responsibility for protecting themselves.
Dr. Betta Edo, always a delight to speak with you. We'd like to thank you so much for speaking with Galaxy TV.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be speaking with the Honorable Commissioner for Health in Cross River State, Dr. Betta Edo. She also doubles, incidentally, as the chairperson of the Commissioner for Health Forum in Nigeria. Now, still to come, we will look into the issue of Nigeria's economy, as again in 4 years the country has slided into recession. I hear it's the worst recession in about 3 decades. I do not know how true. We'll get some perspective in just a moment. I need to also mention that we'll get to also look at some other trendy issues as regards to the EndSARS aftermath, the October 20 Lekki shooting, as we get some perspective from AIG retired Austin Iwar from Abuja, the nation's capital. We also have a lawyer in Calabar, again the Cross River State capital, who will also take a look at the drilling between the Army and the Lagos Judicial Panel. That's in a moment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
I don't understand. They missed me. They said going to prayer and some praise.
This is the moment #EndSARS protester Eromosele Ademe was released from police custody at the Lagos State Police Command, Ikeja. After hours of family members and journalists waiting, he was finally released from police custody around 5:30 p.m. today, Thursday. Despite meeting his bail condition, the police failed to release him until Thursday following public pressure.
Almost like 2 weeks. I've been there since 7th. What's the date? 19th, so that's like 12 days, 13 so far. So almost 2 weeks. It's been an adventure. It's been an adventure. I feel good. I feel loved. I was surprised at the turnout of the events and how people supported and showed love. I didn't expect this much, but thank you so much. That's all I can say. Surely I will be granting more interviews very soon. Very soon. Thank you so much.
Counsel to Eromosele Ademe Babatunde Jinadu spoke with journalists on the charges leveled against his client.
With the bail conditions, having met them, the police were cooperating. They cooperated with us, and quickly the verification, they did that. They didn't delay us, so it wasn't. There were no hiccups on the perfection process. So it was a very smooth one. So on the charge, on their file and all that, we noticed that they're accusing him of incitement, cyber stalking, and conduct likely to cause breach of peace and all. So they went through his Twitter pages and printed a lot of his tweets and tried to link it to be insightful. So, and we told them this is just, he has his freedom of speech, he can express himself, and he has not incited anyone. So
Eromosele's father was relieved and happy at his son's freedom.
I give all the glory to God, and I thank everyone that contributed in one way or the other. Thank all the youths for their moral support. So I give glory to God. I thank all of you.
Eromosele Ademe was arrested by the police on November 7 from his home in Ikeja, Lagos. He was taken to Abuja for interrogation before he was returned to Lagos for trial after 10 days. He was arraigned in court on 4-count charges of cyber stalking and activities likely to cause breach of peace. He was granted bail on Tuesday by Magistrate Folarin Williams of the Yaba Magistrate Court.
There it is. After hours and hours of waiting, after hours and hours of legal bottlenecks, Eroms has finally been released from police custody. From Lagos State Police Command, Solomon Ofem reporting for Galaxy Television News.
Yeah, got you.
I'm not aware of police station and several police stations armories looted and several police station policemen killed. Well, before 2 p.m. on 20th of October, that would have been impossible in practice. Why? Because other places too were on fire. The police were trying to contend with other situations. And remember, the police were actually being pursued in their cell. The protest was not about some other issue, but directed at the police.
Of the former, concluding his evidence. The circumstance we found ourselves in today is such that we have to strike down the cross-examination of the witness for the army, who is already being cross-examined, to take on the full video of the footage which the panel believed the Nigerian army would be interested in. That task has been accomplished. The issue now at hand is the priority of taking evidence of the army or the LCC. I dare to say that the witness of the Nigerian army His evidence is already at the stage of cross-examination, while the evidence of the NCC only concluded today with the full viewing of the footage. Still in the best interest of the proceedings, that the evidence of the application be concluded today is possible.
Well, thanks for staying with us. This is Firecrackers. We discuss issues of national interest. There you go. You saw a report, a press briefing by the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, almost threatening sanctions against the cable news network. I mean, very, very interesting. And then before then, we also saw reports by one of our correspondents and anchors here in Galaxy, Solomon Firm's report, as Eromo Sele was finally released after being in police custody for 12 days. We also understand that the police actually even wanted to keep him more. These are very interesting times indeed. We have some guests joining us live via Zoom from Calabar, the Cross River State capital. We have Inyabong Udo, a legal practitioner. We also have from the nation's capital, Abuja, we have a retired Assistant Inspector General of Police, Austin Iwara. He joins us from the nation's capital. And we also have an economist, a chartered economist who is actually very interested in Nigeria's economy and infrastructure, but is also concerned about the security of this country. He will talk to us about the issue of recession. He joins us from here in Lagos via Zoom as well. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on the show. The technical team, if you can help me, please. Let's see if we can have the entire team who have joined us for this particular Zoom meeting on the screen, so we know where to start. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for coming. Let me begin from the nation's capital. Austin Iwara, retired AIG. Let's even begin with the fact that when Eromosele was to appear in court, there was a lot of heavy security presence. Journalists were prevented, they were harassed. The family members of Eromosele were also harassed. What exactly is going on with our security agencies? To add to that, retired AIG, is the fact that at the testimony yesterday, the army insisted that they shot into the air, but people lost their lives. Also, this week, a newspaper vendor, the DSS operative, says that he shot into the air, but someone was killed. Is that something about the training of our security agents across the nation? AIG Austin, please.
Thank you very much for having me. I think it's better to take these things one by one because these are very sensitive and important national issues. Asking me about security at Eromosele's trial, providing the heavy security there, I think this was necessary, considering that this is an individual that has called out for more protests, and I'm sure that the security agencies occupy that place in that number because of the threat to security that he has called out for people to come around the premises or wherever he wanted to continue with the demonstration. And so it was very necessary that not only himself, but people who come to the court, the lawyers and all the people that will work there will be given adequate security. I don't see anything strange about that. I don't see anything strange. And then you talked about, I wanted us to take it one by one. They came loaded. You talked about army officers shooting in the air or something like that at the park. Did I get that? Hello?
The army insisted that they shot into the air, but then lives were lost. I'm wondering if people were in the air. And then we also see that the newspaper vendor in Abuja, the nation's capital, was also shot dead.
Let's take it one by one, please. Let's take it one by one.
Also that he shot
into
the air.
Yes. I think my understanding is that one of the generals did say yesterday that the army went there with both live and blank bullets and shots, if I understand very well, if the newspaper reports are very factual about that. And so where you have soldiers shooting in the air, it could lead to some accidental discharge, and it could lead to bullets ricocheting and hitting some people and getting them injured or even getting them dead. But I have not seen any pictures of dead people. We've been talking about that if there are dead people, they should let us know, let the parents come out, let us see the pictures. What we have seen are videos of people that were shot that day and injured. So I think that there's more to this incident that we know, and I'm sure that the panel in Lagos is doing a good job to unravel it.
So asked about
and you talked about the journalist in Abuja did what?
But maybe we will come back to you. But let's cross over now to Calabar, the Cross River State capital, where a legal practitioner is standing by to also speak with us. Barrister Inyobong Udo joins us from Calabar. Barrister, I believe that you have been following the proceedings and hearings at the Lagos Judicial Panel. It's been a very, very interesting engagement. But what do you make about the Army's testimony?
Well, thank you so much for having me. The testimony of the Army has been quite revealing, and I would say disappointing, because
in Calabar, Cross River State capital. Inyobong, thank you so much, legal practitioner. Thank you so much for staying with us. Now, I was asking simply, what do you make of the Army's testimony at the Lagos Judicial Panel just yesterday? They say that they actually took live and blank bullets to the venue of the protest.
Yes, thank you so much. Yes, we have been following that the testimony of the Army. I would say that the testimony of the Army has been disappointing and inconsistent. Inconsistent in the fact that at first they said they were not there at the Lekki Gate incident, and later they said they didn't carry live bullets at all. They only carried blank bullets. And then when we had the CNN report, they later recanted their testimony and said they carried both live and blank bullets. And they have been contradictory. They have been inconsistent. And in law, usually when a witness gives an inconsistent or contradictory evidence, the court is supposed to reject that kind of evidence because the evidence is not consistent. It's not a truthful testimony. It's not a consistent testimony, and it's not such that it's not a witness of truth. It's not a testimony or an evidence that the court will rely on. So the proper thing is to reject it for its inconsistency, for its contradictions. And it's unfortunate that we've not come clean. The government has not come clean on this Lekki incident. There have been so many back and forths on the issue. The governor said he didn't ask for Army. Army was not there. Later on, evidence showed that Army was there. Army now said they were there. We should be able to take the lives of citizens of Nigeria very, very seriously. And, this back and forth is not encouraging at all. It's disappointing, to say the least, that the lives of Nigerians are being told with. We're not given the pride of place. So that is my thoughts on the panel, especially on the testimony of the Army.
Barrister Inyobong, stay with us. Let's take a breather, gentlemen. We will come back in just a moment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
All right.
Journalist waiting, he was finally released from police custody around 5:30 p.m. today.
Well, thanks for staying with us. This is Firecrackers. We are live in Calabar, the Cross River State capital, where we have a legal practitioner standing by, Inyobong Udo. Here in Lagos, we have a chartered economist also standing by to speak with us on the issues of recession as Nigeria again finds herself in that particular situation. Samson Shoyebi joins us also, and we also have a retired Assistant Inspector General of Police, Osun Iwara, from the nation's capital, Abuja. Well, since we are still with you, legal practitioner Inyobong, let's stray for a moment and get back and talk about Eromosele's bail. I mean, he had to actually pay a bail of about 1 million naira. I'm wondering what exactly the money was meant for.
Well, the court has the discretion to grant bail, and possibly the court considered the facts of the case and decided to impose bail. Of course, that has been met, the bail conditions had been met, and he had been released on bail. However, my worry does not even seem to be on the bail sum, but seems to be on the drama surrounding his detention, his arrest, his detention, and then the reluctance of the authorities, particularly the police, on releasing him from bail. I feel that well, every citizen of Nigeria has a right to personal liberty, and if he has committed a crime, he should be charged to court. And if the court has granted bail, the police should be without any further delay, they should obey the order of the court in releasing him on bail. And I would say, in disagreeing with the very distinguished retired AIG, that the security at the courts were just unnecessary. It were just unnecessarily sensationalizing the issue and the matter. His crime is not much far more, or does not carry far more security implications than many other trials that are going on in the country. And then, in just one court incident, we had the truckloads of police officers preventing family members, preventing lawyers, preventing friends, journalists from accessing the court. And I would say it's unnecessary. It's totally unnecessary. This is the same country where we have security issues everywhere. In Calabar, where we are in the past week, we've had almost 3 or 4 kidnap incidents, and there yet we are crying of shortage of police personnel. And then, in a particular trial, we'll have a full truckload of police officers preventing people from entering the court and all of that. I just feel that this is just an overkill. It's an overkill. It's an overkill. It's unnecessary. Our infringement of human rights, it's unnecessary. It's totally uncalled for. The way we sensationalize matters, it's unnecessary. And I think we need to do a review. We need to do a review of some of our actions, some of our extrajudicial actions, especially by our police authorities. We've just come out from the NSAS crisis. There's been a call for respect for human rights, respect for the dignity of
speak with us.
Respect for
Samson Shoaib. Samson, thank you so much for joining us. We will talk recession in just a moment. But the federal government and the president indeed says that they will not tolerate another NSAS protest. That has been interpreted in many ways. Some say the president is talking about dialogue, while others say the president is probably making or forming some kind of resistance to even allowing such a protest in the first place. But what do you make of that particular statement from the presidency?
Are you asking me? Hello, can you hear? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Okay, it appears that Samson has probably left the meeting, but AIG, maybe you should probably just respond to that. What do you make about the move by the presidency insisting that another NSAS protest will not be tolerated?
Hello, I'm here. Hello? Hello, can you hear me? Okay.
All right, Samson, we have you back. Please go ahead.
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you. What's the question? Can you repeat the question? Sorry.
All right, Samson, the question is very simple. The federal government says another NSAS protest will not be tolerated. Is that what we need at this point in time?
Okay, so the federal government can express their concerns about the NSAS protest, but the power as considered in the Constitution that empowers the people to assemble or associate lies with the Constitution, and the federal government do not have such power to restrict. They can express their concern, but you cannot stop people from associating, especially when it's a peaceful association, especially when the power given to the individual, the freedom given to individuals to assemble has been enshrined in our Constitution. So the federal government can only express their concern. They cannot restrict people entirely. They cannot stop people, most especially when that association is a peaceful one, most especially when that association has no intent to, or it has there is no fact or evidence that says that such association is going to constitute danger or harm to other persons. So for me, the federal government has expressed their concern, they have expressed what they feel it is they want to do, but the people are the electorate, they are the ones who hold the power of this country, and they have the power as enshrined in the Constitution to assemble, to associate, to protest. The president cannot say that people should not protest, especially when I continue to insist that when it is a peaceful protest, the president cannot restrict people from protesting. Mr. President actually protested during Jonathan's regime, and he was protected. The Constitution gives allowance for peaceful protest. Nigerians cannot be gagged at this point. We have the freedom to express our concerns and to speak to authority. Most of us cannot even reach out to our government, our leadership. The only way we can speak to them and when we have concerns is through protest. And it is enshrined in the Constitution. So I don't feel that statement of the president is actually, is an opinion, but that doesn't mean that Nigerians will honor that. They might not honor that, especially if this protest is going to be a peaceful one. Yes.
Manage the few minutes that we have left, Samson. Now, let me take that question to the retired AIG. Maybe in 20 seconds, you can probably respond to that. Plus the fact that AIG, Austin, there are also rumors that some police officers have resigned. I think earlier in the week as well, there was also rumors or speculations that some police officers were kidnapped. What do you make of the state of our security in the nation, and why are the policemen not back on the street?
Okay, thank you very much. When the federal government said that they will not tolerate any protest again, I think that Nigerians should see it in the context. You see that statement in context, not in the context of general rights of citizens to come out and protest and associate. Moreover, we understand very well that right from when the NSAS protest started, government officials, including the president himself, did say that the young people had the right to protest. But the dimensions in which the protest took created a lot of hardship and problems and violence and destruction of property. I think it is in that context that federal government the president is saying that they will not tolerate this kind of protest that led to bloodshed, that led to deaths, that led to destruction and killing of policemen and citizens. I think I see it from that context. Then secondly, yes, there is no rumor that police officers were kidnapped. It is a fact that 12 officers were kidnapped somewhere in the northeast, and 9 so far as we know have been rescued. It is a fact, not a rumor. And talking about the general security situation, it is frightening. In my own estimation, the security situation is frightening when security agents themselves become targets of violence and kidnap. Then we may gradually be inching into some form of anarchy, where the people responsible for providing security cannot even provide security for themselves. And you did talk about why police officers are not going back to work. We need to understand that every Nigerian now has a knee on the policeman's neck. Panels have been set up. Judicial panels have been set up all over the place to look into SARS misadventures, SARS violence, and SARS brutality. And we've heard about police reforms, which in my own thinking should bring in some kind of succo to police officers. But nothing has been said about
need to
police
roll off now and
officers.
see how we can wrap things up. But let me take this conversation back to the legal practitioner in Inyobong. Inyobong, moving forward, maybe in 30 seconds, how do we begin to build trust between the people and the federal government?
Well, I think the federal government will have to be sensitive to the demands and they also have to be sincere. You know, we had a lot of insincerity coming up. They also have to be sincere. There should also be respect for the citizenry, respect for human rights, and then they should be able to deliver on the promises they have said they will deliver. President Buhari, when he came up with so many promises, and we are yet to see some of those promises being delivered. They should begin to deliver those promises. That will bring more trust and more mutual respect between the government and the government. Thank you so much. Thank you. And then maybe for the police, I would say we should also respect the recently assented to Police Act 2020. We should have the police stay away from civil actions and breach of contract. And then there should be respect for human rights. When the police respect human rights, we will have less of these incidents and protests. Thank you, and thank you for having me.
Inyobong, thank you so much. Gentlemen, we'd like to thank you so much for your thoughts. Legal practitioner from Calabar, the Cross University capital, Inyobong Udoh. We also had a retired AIG, Austin Uwar from Abuja, the nation's capital. We'd like to thank you, gentlemen, for your time and your thoughts. We'll take a very short break. When we come back, we will stay with Samson Shoibe, a chartered economist, as we look at this issue of recession just before we wind down on the show. We're back in a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. So Nigeria's oil sector actually contracted by 13.89% as COVID-19 plunged the country's economy officially into recession. Samson, what do you make of this news? Just yesterday, on Saturday, it was made official that we have made it into recession. I mean, for the... I mean, in 4 years, this is the second recession in 4 years. I hear it's the worst. How bad is it?
Okay, I think Nigeria is even in a better place compared to organizations like countries like United Kingdom, UK, which its economy this year contracted to the tune of about 20%. And if you see that, what makes a recession is when you have two consecutive negative growth. So the first one happened after the second quarter, which was about 6.1%, and the second one now is about 3.62 thereabout. Now, if you also observed, these from 6.1% to 3.62% is actually a growth, but the growth did not come off the threshold of a positive growth. That's why it's been deemed as if it's a recession, but officially it's a recession. But if you also observe how our economy has been faring in the last 1 year, look at the first quarter of 2019, second quarter to third quarter, you will have observed that Nigeria's economy had actually been barely surviving. We've been hovering between 2% and 3% maximum, and it's so bad. Now, I wouldn't blame that entirely on the federal government, because yes, it's been a global economic scenario, but how we react to issues that combated us are is what I would like that the federal government actually look into. Now, when we came into COVID-19, it's evident that COVID-19 is going to impact on our economy. Now, you look at it again. The major inflow of a derivative is the crude oil. And yes, there have been lockdown in economies where we sell.
Respond to this in 30 seconds so we can wrap things up. The Social, Economic and Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, has actually written an open letter to the President, Muhammadu Buhari, to cut the costs of governance while reacting to the news of recession. Is this a major challenge? I mean, the cost of governance as we look at Nigeria's economy, and what are the ways forward improving our economy?
Okay, so cutting cost of governance is one of the ways to ensure that we survive, because now we can't say we are in recession and still be spending as if we are in abundance. So definitely cost of governance is one of the issues that we have to look at. But beyond that, I think one of the major challenges we have is diversifying our economy from crude oil. That's one. The second that is more like it is the issue of security. Now, if you observe that the government have been trying to diversify the economy from crude oil sales to agriculture, but unfortunately, bulk of our farmers who actually carry out these agricultural activities cannot actually farm without being properly secured. A lot of them had planted earlier, that now when it gets to the point where they have to harvest, they can't even go in. They are confronted with bandits, asking them for ransom, kidnapping them, and they have to run for their life. So we need to make sure that the federal government needs to ensure that while they are reducing cost of governance, they also look at the issue of security in ensuring that people can actually go about their businesses without fear of being kidnapped or being attacked or losing their life in the process. So those are the issues that we need to talk about and keep talking about. And I hope that
we have to wrap up our conversation on that note. We'd like to thank you so much for speaking with Galaxy TV. Ladies and gentlemen, that's about the size of our package. I mean, thank you so much for being on the other side. We'll be speaking with a chartered economist, Samson Shoebi. Earlier, we spoke to guests from Abuja and Calabar, the Cross River State capital. That does it for this edition of Firecrackers. I am Kelly, a Giga, and I will see you again next time. Good evening.